a news program from a Native perspective. Whether it's a flagpole raising or whether it's an elders conference, if it's important to the people and I make a story out of it, this is the most exciting, wonderful, fun time of my life. Hello and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska. I'm Jeannie Green.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder, revolution is in the air. There's a heartbeat deep inside our mother. Are you too cool to care?
Hello and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska, Native News and Native Information. I'm Jeannie Green. Thank you so very much for joining us. Today we have another story in this time of disaster. This time it's a story of inspiration and hope. We profile Ken Johnson, an Athabascan businessman. Plus we have our usual music videos. And by the way, thank you for all your emails and phone calls. I'll be back with Heartbeat Alaska right after this.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder, revolution.
Hi, my name is Daniel Jordan. I'm from Montesta Lake, and I'd like to thank all you guys for watching Heartbeat Alaska.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by Bristol Environmental and Engineering Services, serving Alaska since 1994. A subsidiary of Bristol Bay Native Corporation.
Hi, I'm Mark from Scan Home, and we are proud to sponsor Heartbeat Alaska.
Scan Home, serving all of Alaska's home and office furnishing needs. Thank you, Scan Home, for making Heartbeat Alaska possible.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by Brown's Electric Lighting Gallery. Thank you, Brown's Electric, for your generous support of Heartbeat Alaska.
By the Nature Conservancy of Alaska, working with Alaska's rural communities to conserve and protect our natural heritage. Lately in the news, we're seeing many people profiled, heroes, firemen, and policemen that have saved many lives in New York City, people that are undergoing the rescue operations. Here in Alaska, we have heroes as well. They're quiet heroes. They're people that just do their job, that work hard and inspire others. And today we meet one of those quiet heroes. His name is Ken Johnson from Northern Building Supply. If you look at Ken Johnson today, chances are you may think that he's always been a successful businessman with the growing building supply company. Happy, productive employees, and a comfortable bottom line. Now, all of that is true. Ken is an owner of Northern Building Supplies Incorporated of Anchorage, Alaska, a devoted family man, and a respected member of the community. But none of that came without years of hard work, discipline, and an absolute faith in the power of God.
And I've said many prayers at my church, and they have prayer requests, and I wrote down on my on a card, I said, please let this be God's company. And they answered me, and they prayed for me. Not only did I pray for it, but I had the church praying for me.
Born in the lower 48 to his Air Force father and Athabascan mother, Ken and his 10 brothers and sisters spent many years traveling from one air base to another.
So we traveled around mostly on military bases or living right outside of a military base. My dad had to do 2 jobs. When he got off work in the Air Force, and he had a night job. And my mom had to raise 10 kids. So most of the time she was home raising kids, so he had to work twice as hard.
Although Ken and his family never spent a great deal of time in one place, Ken always helped with the family finances by working whenever and wherever he could.
So growing up, I started out, raking leaves, cutting grass, doing odd jobs.
Learning the importance of hard work from his father, who after a day's work in the Air Force would work a second job in the evenings, Ken found out that hard work and customer satisfaction paid off.
Started a paper out with 26 customers. It grew to 185 customers in a year's time. And this is stuff I did before I went to school in the morning. Then I give my parents, the whole paycheck. It was over $100. It was a lot of money in that days. And I was able to keep my tips. My tips, so I gave pretty good service, so I got pretty good tips. I got to keep that for myself, and that was very nice.
Although Ken and his siblings had never been to Alaska, his mother made sure that they heard stories about the faraway land and the traditions of their relatives who lived there. They ate traditional foods whenever they could.
Fry bread is about the only thing we could find down there. There wasn't very much salmon, there wasn't hardly any moose or caribou. We just heard stories. She told stories about the old days, about my grandfather. Her father was Chief Nikolai, and the hardships and the fun times that they all had together. All the things that he taught her role in the society at that time. Cut fish and dry fish, what she needs to do to help the family, this type of thing. She told me stories that he was a great big giant man, but I saw pictures and he wasn't all that big, but to her, he was a giant. I've heard stories he was a real good man. He did help his people as much as he could.
A famous leader who is known for his brilliant skills as a negotiator between the newly arrived white culture and his people.
I've heard stories that he signed the okay for the road to get built from Glen Allen to Valdez. I finally came up here as a teenager, and I loved it up here. From the very moment we came up here, I loved it. Finally got a chance to meet my people, because my mom talked about them all the time. And I never realized I had so many relatives. I have an awful lot of relatives up here, and very good people. But trying to learn their ways, our ways, it took a long time. It was different. Seeing a village for the first time, seeing my people for the first time, and there weren't very many jobs, and people they were hurting, but they were happy, and I enjoyed my time with them. I learned a lot.
It was love at first sight. Alaska felt like home to him, and until he joined the Air Force himself, this was home.
Yes, I went to school, started school in Fairbanks on the military base. When we moved to Anchorage, my dad retired. I went to school at West High School, graduated in 1974. Well, I wanted to go to college, but there was 10 kids in our family, so parents couldn't help, and I was working full-time and going to high school at the same time. I saw the military as a way to get an education, get the GI Bill, and get out of Alaska and see what the world was like a little bit.
After serving his time in the military, Ken returned to Alaska and now vows that he will never leave this great land again.
So I joined the Air Force. I did get a chance to travel a little bit, but I was very, very happy to come back to Alaska. Came back to Alaska, got out of the Air Force. I'm never leaving again.
But times were still hard for Ken. He continued as before with hard work and perseverance.
The pipeline was going on during that time. I got out and started working for Meadowmore Dairy. They started paying me $11.15 an hour. I worked hard. I was offloading trainload cars full of ice cream and milk, cartons of stuff that are heavy. On the weekends, I'd go unload vans full of dog food, 50, 100-pound bags, and I'd get $40 for doing that. It'd take me a couple hours.
And after a time, he made his way into the oil business, working for Alyeska Pipeline Corporation in several different capacities.
I continued on working, and then people saw how hard I worked, and then my native corporation approached me and they said, "Ken, would you like to work for Alyeska Pipeline?" And I said, "Sure." Originally, I went to Valdez, and I was in the Marine Department. We loaded tankers. So I loaded the tankers with oil, took the ballast water off. And I went up to ballast water where we treated the water and put it back into the ocean. And after a couple of years, 3 years, I asked to get transferred. I want to see the rest of the pipeline. Well, they sent me up to Pump Station 1, where I started the lab up there, me and a guy named Howie Hilliker. But that was the same old job every single day. I need a challenge. So after a year, I said, get me back into operations.
Never satisfied with working for someone else, Ken joined with his brother and another partner to start Northern Building Supplies.
For a couple of years before I started, my company, my brother was working for a building supply business, and he was a pretty smart guy. And I was saying, Fred, why do you don't like working for somebody else, do you? I know I don't. Let's start our own business. So we talked, and it took us a couple of years, and we finally found a third partner, and the three of us met, had dinner one night, and next day we saw a lawyer, became incorporated, and away we went. We had $30,000 in cash. That's all we had in our savings. By the time we bought our flatbed truck, our pickup truck, office equipment, found a place to rent, half our money was gone. Of course, the first year in business, 1993, end of the year, we didn't have any noticeable business. We didn't pay any taxes.
His company, built on a strong foundation of hard work, customer satisfaction, employee relations, and the power of prayer, took a lot of sacrifice at first.
The stress was tremendous. Working Alaska Pipeline, working my company, trying to do them both, week on, week off, took its toll. And then putting all the money I had into our company took a big toll on the family. Well, when you start a business, and you have a dream like I had, you have to work extremely hard. You put it up front, you devote an awful lot of time and energy, money, say an awful lot of prayers. You don't ever give up. Keep working hard.
No, this is something I got from Mark Smoley.
Surround yourself with as many smart people as you can.
Freezer latch with 481B inside release.
Find some good employees. Keep them as happy as possible.
Didn't really get a permanent job until Ken came and saw me when I was working for Cook Inlet, and came over and asked me if I wanted a job, and a permanent job. I said yes. That's how I first met Northern Building Supplies, through Ken. Most of the time he treats us, one of the guys, but he treats us fair, all of us. But he loves joking around and everything.
There's a heartbeat louder than thunder. Revolution is in the air.
Mom, Dad.
You are miserable parents. I snuck out. You caught me.
I lied. You knew.
I pushed. And you pushed back.
Invaded my privacy.
My privacy.
I hated it.
I hated you.
Why couldn't you leave me alone?
Just leave me alone.
I thought you were the worst parents in the world.
I thought you were the worst parents in the world.
Thanks.
The gift of past experiences handed down. There are no greater lessons.
Heartbeat Alaska chooses the Longhouse Hotel, the official hotel of Heartbeat Alaska. And this is where we choose to house our guests that come from all over the world to spend time with us. And this is where we hope you will choose to spend your time when you come to Anchorage. Choose the Longhouse Hotel, the official hotel of Heartbeat Alaska.
For more than 50 years, Frontier Flying Service has been your connection to rural Alaska. Frontier Flying Service, a proud sponsor of Heartbeat Alaska.
Heartbeat Alaska is brought to you in part by TribalNews.com, the world's most complete source of Alaska Native American news on the internet.
Yeah, you can. Very careful.
The most important thing is to pray, and good things will happen to you. Okay, this is our outside shop. This is where we keep all our parts, our wood window parts. We can build wood windows to any size you want. Just tell us your rough opening and we'll make the window to fit it. We also have a lot of vinyl windows we sell. These vinyl windows, we're getting ready to crate them. We're shipping them up to the Kotzebue area. You have to work twice as hard as anybody else. I've seen that working on the pipeline. To be considered equal, you have to work twice as hard as them. Now, if you give up, somebody else is going to take your idea, and they're going to succeed with it. So don't give up. Well, I prayed real hard. A lot of my prayers have come true. I can tell God's definitely been with me. I prayed for my family, prayed for friends, loved ones, myself, and I learned to have complete faith. I don't have faith in myself, but I have faith in God, and I've seen great things.
Northern Building Supplies Incorporated has now grown into an important fixture in the Alaskan economy.
The next year, 1994, we did $1 million worth of business, which is remarkable. Last year, we did $5 million in business. I can see it growing tremendously.
Always one with an open ear to innovation, Ken is now very proud to have as a product the R+ modular home, a building system that lends itself very well to rural Alaska's housing needs.
I have a product called R+ Homes. It's a foam panel house, but it's a structural foam panel house. That means it's 4 to 6 times stronger than a regular house. You can put it up in 3 or 4 days. You know, have it framed in, floors, walls, ceilings, doors and windows. As you can see, there's a 2x4 construction around it. We frame it in. These are 4-foot panels, and we put the electrical in place before we inject the foam. You'll have these male connectors on one panel. These male connectors will go onto a female connector on the next panel. Here's an example right here. Here's a male, and here's a female. So when the panels go together, they just slide right into place. This cuts down tremendously on your electrical. And you're looking at this and probably wondering, how do we put these panels together? Well, on the walls inside our display cabinet here, you see these holes. There's 3 holes per panel. And these just cam lock together. And here's an example right here of our cam lock fitting. What we do is you put these strips in, or you put caulking in before you put the panels together. You slide the panels together and you pull this clockwise. And it pulls the panel in. These are so super tight that air is not going to get in there. You can see how it pulls it in. Pulls it in tight. This whole house here is at the parking lot at the Home Depot went up in 5.5 hours. That's floors, your walls, your ceiling, your doors, and your windows. In a stick-built house, you'd have to build up to frame it. You have to put plywood on it and put T111 on it. This T111 comes right from the factory. So when you put your panels together, outside is basically done. You can put whatever type of siding you want. You can put vinyl siding on, you can put metal siding on. You can have the T111 right from the factory. It just depends on the customer.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder. Revolution is in the air.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Green with Heartbeat Alaska. What is Heartbeat Alaska? It's a program created just for you. A program whose subject matter, Native Americans and Alaska Natives. We thank you for joining us, no matter what culture you're from. Heartbeat Alaska is like a journey. We take you to remote villages across the north, but most importantly, we take you home.
Nice job.
Hey man, how's it going?
To a person recovering from substance use, what you say comes through loud and clear.
Daddy! Daddy! I'm so glad you're home!
If you know someone in recovery, give them support. And if you know someone who needs help, give them this number, 1-800-662-HELP.
We did a study at a house in Bethel. Side by side, Jerry from R+ lived in one stick-built house. Right next to it was a foam panel house. Over a 2-year period, they watched the fuel usage. Stick-built house used over 100 gallons a month on an average, probably more than that. And the foam panel house only used 9 gallons. Now, with the price of oil right now, let's say it's $3.50 a gallon, you can save $3,000 or $4,000 a year just on heating costs.
Knowing the needs of the customer and the realities of the Alaskan environment are key to the success of Ken's building supply business.
I can see us doing a lot more business in rural Alaska. I'm going to start showing my products a lot more out there. I can show people how we can help them, especially with our foam panel house, and how we can save them a tremendous amount of money.
But behind it all are the principles of honest hard work and a dedication to customer satisfaction.
We're very honest, so we're not going to take advantage of anybody.
Ken is truly an inspiration to all Alaska Native people. He is living proof that the American dream exists not only for the wealthy and privileged few, but it is attainable for anyone with.
Thank you so much, Ken Johnson, and everyone else for your help in that story. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate your help and your contribution to this story. I'll be back with more Heartbeat Alaska and music videos right after this.
Chico Wawi no ku utawi ke e matwako Chenano de etaya Inde ketak moteya Mokote na de etaya Yam katano de machuya Gato ni mit moteya Jena no de meshkenan apu en astwapok Shakastan de etaya in de ketak pomateya Okotena de etaya Yam katano Machuya in a kawi shachio Keno tawi manuato Keni kana snowy shamo It's no mamo we no limito Hey
Thank you for joining us once again for Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Native Information. I do love hearing from you. Please email me at jeanniegreen@ak.net. And if you're coming to town for the AFN convention, stop by our studio on the Old Seward Highway, and the address is 6216 Old Seward Highway. Give us a call. Let us know that you're coming at 907-563-7440. We'd love to give your youth group a tour, or if you're just a regular viewer of Heartbeat Alaska, stop by. We'd love to share a cup of coffee with you. God bless you. We'll see you again next week.
Spoke with the tongues of angels, but we didn't have love. No, we didn't have love. We had faith that could move any mountain, but it wasn't enough, 'cause we didn't have love. We had wings, but we did not fly. We had vision, but we didn't have sight. Now I can see that the greatest of these